Okay, let me start this video. Hey Gabsters, how you Gabsters doing? I have the full tripod in front of me at Cape Town International Airport, acting like a superstar when we all know I'm not. I'm in Cape Town. I am about to literally pee in my pants because of this flight. You guys know I have a flight phobia. I'm trying to deal with it without liquid courage, trying to do this through my own will and the Lord's strength. But we'll see how far. I've got another. I'm actually here very early. My flight's like at 7, so I'm gonna be stressing for a while. But I owe you guys a video, and today's video is on working and studying. So firstly, I've probably seen all my Instagram posts and my Facebook posts. I'm sorry that there hasn't been a video this week. I was an idiot. I filmed like a beginning of a vlog, and then I left the cable that I used to transfer all my clips onto my laptop, and at the place where I was staying there was no Wi-Fi, so I couldn't do it like that. Anyway, so that's why there was no video. I'm very, very sorry about that, Gabsters. I'm working hard on my... Why is it so noisy at the airport? I don't understand why people insist on using those hot air things. Aren't they supposed to like spread germs and things like that? I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, Gabsters. I don't know if you can hear me. I might be speaking too softly considering all the background noise, but hopefully you guys can hear me, and hopefully this video is not a waste of our time. I've been saying on all my other social media that I am doing a peace job. What is a peace job? For all of you non-sort of South Africans and sort of non-local slang, colloquiums, whatever you want to call it, a peace job is the kind of job like day laborer. You know, you go to houses, you say, do you have any work for me today? It's a peace job, you know. It's not like working in a temporary job. As I was saying, peace job. So peace job is the kind of job that you do like as a day laborer, you know. You kind of get it piece by piece. There's no certainty to it. There's no sort of like temporal longevity to it or whatever. It's precarious labor basically. And okay, I suppose there's levels of precarious labor, but basically it's like a job when you get one basically. So I do peace jobs to fund my degree, as you guys know. And basically these peace jobs are usually like research related, which means somebody would start a study, or a consultant who is doing consulting for a firm is needing a researcher, or might have a sort of research institution that is looking for people to go out into the field. And basically they will put out like a job thing. Usually a lot of these jobs actually circulate. People will send them to the departments, to universities and to the departments where they either have contacts or they feel like that's the discipline that would be best suited to them. So if maybe they're doing sort of a lot more like economic stuff, they might send it to like the economics department. If they're looking for qualitative researchers, which is researchers who ask like, why do you do this, or how do you feel about that? Those sort of researchers, then they would send it to like sort of social sciences, usually anthropology, which is what I do, sociology.
Can Ms. Lamini, Ms. Swazi, and Mr. Colin please move now? Okay.
That Lamini that they're calling is not me. So I almost freaked out. I was like, what? Can't be my flight now. Anyway, I do qualitative research, which is more sort of like, why do people do certain things, or how do you feel about certain things, and things like that, you know, like what pushes you to do the actions that you do. Then you get quantitative research, which is more sort of like, you know, when you get yes or no questionnaires, or when you get multiple choice things, that's really quantitative, because you're more interested in getting like a big sample that is sort of like representing the society that you want to do. So quantitative is about like getting numbers and getting as many people as possible. Qualitative is getting potentially fewer numbers of people that you're researching, but more sort of like rich descriptive data. A quantitative research, I would say, oh, do you like fish or do you like chicken? And then a qualitative researcher would say, you said you like chicken. Why do you like chicken? Does that make sense? Anyway, so I go out and I do those things. So people who are looking for researchers, potentially qualitative researchers, would send out a call. Like I said, I get most of my jobs from the department. Currently, I got it from someone sent a thing to my supervisor. My supervisor shared it with her students, and then whoever wanted to apply for the job got to apply for the job. So sometimes a lot of the jobs come through those things, and they're not necessarily advertised in newspapers and those kinds of things, because a lot of the time, especially in certain fields, you might find that the field is quite a small field. A lot of anthropologists in South Africa know each other, so they kind of know if I'm looking for an economic anthropologist, there's so-and-so at this university and so-and-so at that university, so they're more likely to be able to sort of push me to the right direction in terms of looking for, researchers who could do the job. So that's a lot of the time, that's how I get the jobs. And a lot of the time, like, these are not long-term contracts. Basically what happens is it would be like for about a month or two. So like you come in, and what you do is they would either normally pay you by daily wage, or you'd have an hourly wage, because a lot of the time you don't really work like full days because you're going out into the field, you're looking for researchers, so you might do like an interview in the morning, an interview at night. So depending on the way in which they've structured their budgets, you would either get a daily rate or a hourly rate. And a lot of the time they will say, okay, we need you to come in. They've already like designed the research, how they want to do it. They've already designed the questionnaires. You just come in a lot of the times, or sometimes you come in, they've got like a basic questionnaire, and then you help refine it, and then you go through it and you refine it and sort of like package it nicely. Or sometimes it's already really done for you. It's just a matter of you going in, collecting the data, which could be like questionnaires. It could be like a questionnaire. It could be just observation, where you just go out and you hang out with people. It could be like really sort of structured interviews where, like highly structured, or it could be very loose and informal. So it really depends on the study and what they're trying to figure out. And that will determine how you collect the data, using what tools. You could do like video recordings, you could do audio recordings. Sometimes you don't even record. Sometimes you just hang out, you have a conversation, and then later on you write like field notes of what the conversation was about. If there's a quote that they said that you think was important, you try and like capture that as accurately as possible. So it can really vary, which is the really nice thing about like my jobs, is that like I get to do work on research projects that work on so many different things, on so many different topics. Like you guys, I have worked on language acquisition and gestures, like all of this. There's a study, people study all your hand movements and your funny facial movements when you talk. And so the really cool thing about my job, or my jobs, is that I get to like work on like a lot of really different topics. So I get to learn a lot about different fields, about different disciplines. But it's also not boring, because it's like short term, you're in, you're out. You know what I mean? It's not boring. There's a variety of topics that you get to like learn on. So you become like almost like really grounded in a lot of disciplines and topics and things like that. I've worked on gesture, I've worked on sexuality and religion, I've worked with sex workers, I've worked with all sorts of people. So it's very, very, very broad. I get to travel a little bit, although not as much as I'd wish to, but I get to travel quite a bit. You guys have seen me go to Mpumalanga. I'm in Cape Town now. I was supposed to do a study in Natal, but I lost that job. And then, going to the downsides of my job. One of the things that happens is sometimes studies move further in, or they move outward. Like this job that I'm saying that I lost, it was supposed to happen. The one that I'm working on now was supposed to happen last year, so I was going to go into the new year and start working on this one. But the one that I'm working on now got delayed, which means that I couldn't work on the second one because dates were clashing. It also means that I don't really have full-time employment, which means no benefits here, no benefits. I just need to budget a lot more and those kinds of things. But it's also very flexible. I get to work when well, hopefully when I get jobs, I get to work when I want to work and not work when I don't want to work, and focus on my studies and my PhD and those kinds of things. So in that way, like the flexibility, and it's a lot more financially. It's not very rewarding, but it's a lot more rewarding than potentially working a 9 to 5, considering the time you spend at a 9 to 5 versus the flexibility that working research gives you. And potentially you could work 2 jobs at the same time, depending on where they were located and those kinds of things. You could potentially be fitting in like jobs on jobs on jobs, but I mean, you would have to be like a super organized person to be able to do that, which we all know I ain't. So once you've collected the data, you normally send it, you either like, there's different ways in which you can send it, either by electronically, Dropbox, you can meet them in person and hand them over the files or whatever. And then sometimes, depending on the study, you can be part of the data analysis, which means that you get to like sort of go through the data and start pulling out some of the themes that popped up, and like potentially start saying, oh, this is actually what we found in the field, and therefore sometimes it's for policy implementation, therefore we would suggest that you do A, B, C, and D, and other times it's just for like knowledge production, therefore you're just out there for theoretical knowledge creation. So it's not always necessarily for like practical reasons that people do research. Sometimes it's really just purely for the production of knowledge. So I mean, it's really nice when you get to be part of the analysis and sort of part of the write-up stage, because one, you could potentially get your name on a publication, which is great, because if you're an academic, you're trying to build your profile, and getting your name on published articles is a great thing. Two, it is basically experience, because as a researcher, you also are working towards your own publications and your own research. So you get to like build experience and see how other people do it. And basically, yeah, it's like gaining a skill or experience. It's through practice that you get to do it. And also it's really nice just to see the conclusion of something that you've worked on, right? To get to work on it until the very end and see sort of your labor recognized and your labor bearing fruit, which is like awesome. So that is essentially what one does when they work piece jobs as researchers. But yeah, I should be ending this video and I don't feel like ending it. I don't know why. I should learn to shut up. I should learn to shut up. Anyway, Gabsters, that is the end of my discussion on working as a researcher. The Q&A video is going to come up on Monday, so I will see you guys then.